Kelly. Okay, can everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
good
can,
stuff.
Jodie.
Okay, there's not a lot of words on there. I'm not a fan of big kind of paragraphs on a PowerPoint, so it's not absolutely essential if you're kind of doing it on an iPhone whilst jogging. I don't know what you weird people get up to. So, good morning, everybody. It's Jodie Newman from the Business Allotment, and the next 28 minutes minus a bit before Alan panics, I'm going to run right up to the to the 11 o'clock mark. It's all about digging for your difference today. So this is about creating a bit of standout. And this will help you grow your business. It's something I always do with my clients because this is the place you start. You get this foundation right, and everything can much more easily fall into place. So in the next 30-ish minutes, we are going to look at why your difference makes the difference. Okay, this is in terms of everything you do in your business. We're going to talk about how you get stuck in your audience's mind. This is so important. I mean, who remembers marketing and adverts from their childhood? You know, who remembers the shake and vacuum? It doesn't always have, ideally you get stuck in people's minds for the right reason, not because you're a weird 80s mum throwing talc around the carpet. But, you take anything. This is so, so important to creating a brand and a brand story that works. You need to get stuck into your audience's head. And also for the older generation amongst us, tales of the unexpected. We're going to be looking at creating your own tale of the unexpected as part of your brand story. Okay, so let's start on just why this is so important. I don't think really there'll be anyone in the room who exists in a category or an industry of one. It's kind of like a sea of sameness in every category. You've got an industry of accountants. How many are really standing out? You've got an industry of business support and coaches. How many of those really stand out? Your challenge as a small business owner is to get your difference out there. I don't know how to make the slides bigger. Alan, I'm passing that one over to you. Not sure. I'll carry on if there's because they're huge on my screen. But don't worry, you don't have to. As I said at the beginning, there's not many words. I'm talking them through. So as long as you can hear, that's pretty much the essential bit. Okay, so understanding your difference and making that part of your brand story is going to really, really help you push your business forward. It's going to help engage your audience with your story, because that story, that brand story, who you are, what's important to you, what kind of mission you're on, all that stuff that makes up your story helps plant ideas and potential in your audience's mind. So they get to start to think, oh yeah, I could go on this journey with them. I could do this with them. I could end up here. So that's what is the essential part of doing the story and putting the difference as the center part. Now, this for me is the key thing. Your audience, be they prospects, people who are around you on social media and networking, at the point at which they're starting to think about buying from you, they are asking the question, subconsciously or otherwise, why should I choose you? Why should I choose accountant 1 over accountant 2? Why should I choose social media manager A over B? And if you can't answer that question in your prospects' heads, they're either not going to choose you, or they're going to choose you for the reasons they've made up in their head, which probably aren't the right reasons. And you end up attracting the wrong people into your business. You answer this question with clarity and purpose and confidence, the people who choose you will be the right people who you want in your business. So that clarion call of this answer is all about communicating your difference in a really succinct and clear way. And then they go, yeah, you're not for me. Brilliant. You want to, in a nice way, push away the people who don't like that answer and attract the people who do, like a very, very powerful magnet. And if you understand your difference, that's the attraction that you're going to create. Okay, so the final piece on this, before I actually hand over, get you guys to do some thinking around this. Great brands create emotional connection. I don't care who you are, whether you're a one-man, one-woman band, all the way up to Apple and Nike and all those. It's all about creating an emotional story that connects. This doesn't say you're, provoking people into tears. I would, advise against that as a brand strategy, but you are creating a connection with your audience that isn't about facts, figures, data. A story filled with data is not making an emotional connection. Your story that you tell about your business should create some emotion, some engagement, some excitement, some inspiration, whatever that is, because emotion creates memory. And this is where you start to stick in your customers' minds. Because if you can't have if your brand story doesn't create memory, how are they going to remember you? It's really kind of simple stuff. Because if you are a brand that gets remembered, you get talked about, you get referred, and you get purchased from. But until the point at which they remember you, you're going to constantly have to be in their face. And nobody has a marketing budget that enables them to do that. So I'm not a massive fan of Mr. Amazon for all sorts of reasons, mainly because he's now built a rocket that looks like a penis extension. But putting that to one side, he said something amazing, I think, about brands. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. And I love that, because if you can keep that in mind, that will help you define your story in a really clear and simple way. Because if you can arm the people around you on social media, in your networking, your current client base, the prospects, your ex-clients, your dormant clients, if you've given them all a great story to tell, if they've emotionally connected, they will remember it. And off they go out into the wild, into their own networks, into their own kind of Facebook groups. And at any point, someone goes, "Oh, I really need a networking group." What happens? You go, "I'll tell the only story." And in you go. And you're doing the job that Kelly and James want you to do. You're an unpaid sales force. This is what we want in our business. And if you understand your difference and you tell a great story, bingo, you've got that. Okay, so let's have a little think about how to be remembered. What I'd like you to do, grab a bit of paper and draw kind of what we've got there, 5 thought bubbles. Don't make them too small because you'll be writing in them. You can draw a little self-portrait in the middle. That's not me. I think that's kind of Paul Weller circa 1985. Draw 5 thought bubbles. And what I'd like you to do is ask yourself this question. What do you want to be remembered for in your customers' minds? So think forward. And in 3 to 5 of those bubbles, I want you to write the thing you want to be remembered for in your customers' minds. If nothing comes to mind, let's roll this scenario out. I'm going to call your customers in 6 months' time. I'm going to go, "Hello, Mr. Client. Hello, Mr. Customer. I know you've dealt with Alan. You've been working on a project with him 6 months ago. What's the one thing that you remember about that experience of working with Yellow Tuxedo? What do you want them to say to me?" So if I was going to do some mystery shopping. Oh, Alan, you're so small, I can't see you. You're holding up your bubbles. Yeah, good lad. I like it. Okay, you may have such clarity about this. You write 1 bubble and you're done. I would suggest there's probably 3 thoughts floating around your head of different things you might want to write down. You could have 5. If you're struggling and you've actually got 10, write all 10 down. Once you've got your 3 to 5, what I'd like you to do is start to think about which one of those is the most important and start eliminating the others. Cross them through. I'm saying to you, your clients can remember you for one thing only. What is that one? Which of those thought bubbles is the outcome, the highlighters? Absolutely.
Sorry, Jodie, I don't wish to interject on this amazing workshop.
Please do.
Only one is pretty tough.
Yeah, because I am tough. Come on, Alan, man up, choose one.
All right, bear with me.
Probably should say woman up, shouldn't I? That's more accurate. Right, so have we got down to one? I mean, if this is the first time you thought about this, this is not an easy thing to do in 3 minutes. Okay, I do appreciate that. So like all the tools I share with clients and in groups like this is something to come back to, particularly if you work in a team, or get yourself someone who knows your business and you can do a little swap on this exercise. It's a really good thing to get somebody else's perspective on it. Okay, so what's in that bubble? I mean, please, if anyone wants to share, unmute and just shout it out. Really happy to hear a couple of bubbles where you've got to. And I'm going to pick on Alan, seeing as he made such a fuss about it.
I'm happy to be honest, I found that really difficult, but Emily's better at putting things on paper than I am. I put very quickly: great hair, helpful, yellow, fun, knowledgeable. Crossed all them out, wrote motivating, then crossed that out and wrote breaking down barriers. I think we want to be remembered for helping people break down their barriers, and technical as well as kind of body limiting. That's where rushing, that's where I've come to.
Yeah, lovely. So this is a case of kind of going back through, making sure you've crossed out the right ones and you've maintained that singular thought of how you want to be remembered. Because once you've got your ambition of creating that brand memory, you can then start to reverse engineer everything you do in your business to lead people to be left with that thought. So for me, my brand memory is all about a creative process to grow your business. It was a really creative way with fresh perspectives. So I need to make sure every touch point in my business says something about that as an experience. So I need to be talking about creativity on the socials. I need to be making my tools quite creative and stuff that perhaps people haven't done before, and a new way of thinking about it. Because if you get that experience that will lead them to that brand memory, it's all going to stick in there. You are going to occupy a little tiny bit of your audience's mind with that experience and that memory. And that may well be your difference. You may have, if you've got down to one thought bubble, you may have already found the difference. And once you start banging that drum, this is why we're different, this is why we're different, you're going to remember us for this. That might be all you need to create your standout story. Okay, so we're going to put that to one side for the moment. Okay, we're going to move on to Tales of the Unexpected. So I went to a marketing seminar recently held by Tom Roach. He's like brand king at Jellyfish Agency. And he said something lovely. Ideas that don't fit are an effective memory aid. So we're still trying to get our brand, our business, into people's brains. And we want that to stick in there. And what he's saying is ideas that don't fit with what you expect, ideas that don't fit with everything else going on around it, are the ones that stick. Of that picture, you will remember a blue duck. We all want to be the blue duck. Don't be the yellow duck. Because who are you compared to all the others in your industry? You're just a yellow duck. Okay, so we need to channel our inner blue duck. I mean, that wasn't on the script. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but I'll keep going. So we need to create that standout. We need to think, how do I become the blue duck in my industry? I'm going to leave it there because I'm running out of duck analogies. Right. So second exercise, grab another bit of paper, fold it down the middle, draw a line down the middle. We want 2 columns. At the top of one, you write expected. At the top of the other, you write unexpected. Next step. Now, this is definitely one to come back to. So I'm going to kind of give you the tool. I'm going to get you to have a go at it. But this is one, this can take a long time to really dig down into. This is all about understanding what the expected beliefs, rules, approaches are in your industry. Okay, so you draw your 2 columns. and you want to pick an aspect of business. I've got 3 up here as examples. We've got pricing and packaging. Every business has to price and package what they do. Client service is another one. Approach and values. I mean, when I run this tool with my clients, we can have up to 15 or 20 different aspects of business to look at. We could look at visual branding. We could look at, kind of ethical credentials. We could look at all sorts of things, but I've chosen some obvious ones to start with. So what I want you to do for your industry, let's pick pricing and packaging. In the expected column, what are the expected behaviors and approaches of people in your industry when it comes to pricing or packaging? So, Vanda, you might have a per session cost or a program cost. That might be something that pretty much everyone in your industry adheres to as a pricing approach. The norm of pricing for networking is monthly payments, for example. Now, there might be several of these in your industry. Let's take the example of a brand designer. They often work in the brand design industry on project fee. We're doing a brand refresh, here's the project cost. Or they price per hour, or a combination of. So write down what in your industry the norms are around pricing what you do. If you don't know, you should go and find out what's going on in your industry. But I think you'll all have a fairly good sense. Now, in the column unexpected, I want you to flip that notion completely on its head and write down what would be unexpected to do. The expected thing for a brand designer is a project fee. What would the unexpected thing be? Not a project fee, maybe an annual subscription, like Netflix. Want to be the Netflix of the brand design world. Maybe not pricing by hour, but no price at all. Okay, now as an idea, that's a stretch, commercially slightly dodgy. However, once you've got that flipped idea written down, how could you make it work as an idea? Well, not charging is not commercially sensible, but what about the client's going to pay what it's worth? The Radiohead album kind of concept. Don't pay a fixed fee, pay what you think it's worth. Or I'm not going to price by the hour. I'm going to price by a satisfaction matrix that me and the client are going to come up together with. And if I tick all those boxes, they're going to pay top dollar. And do you know why they're going to really love to pay it? Because I've ticked all their boxes. And I'm happy not to charge the whole lot if they haven't ticked all the boxes. So there are a million ideas you can do by flipping the expected on its head. The trick is to just spend some time with each of those ideas and go, well, how would I make that work? So, for example, one last quick example, most brand designers have tiers of packages, tier 1, 2, 3, gold, silver, bronze, That's really common in lots of industries. Well, why don't you do the opposite? There's no tiers. There's just one flat fee. Or maybe it's a pick and mix. So everything is broken down and the client can just cherry pick a bag full of deliciousness of whatever you offer. And we all know pick and mix. If you fill your bag up, you pay a fortune. Well, that sounds good. Does that work for you? Because if you can flip your expected tropes of your industry on its head, you immediately create difference. Now, a final thought on this. This isn't about creating difference for the sake of it. This tool, this process, if you do it with a creative kind of mindset, will lead you down all sorts of interesting paths to evolve your business. And there may well be innovation in there that suits you as a business. You go, actually, a satisfaction matrix is bang on my values because I'm all about customer care and customer delight. So rather than a flat fee, a customer satisfaction matrix by which you work out how much you charge is so on brand for you. And then you talk about it everywhere and you become known as, oh yeah, the person with the satisfaction matrix. I mean, you'd call it something sexier than that, and that's what your difference is. And that's why, because behind that one functional thing of having a matrix of costs, the whole story can be unpacked about how you want the customer to be at the heart of everything you do, and their satisfaction is more important than anything else. So you can build your story around this difference. There's a lot to go through there, so hopefully that's given you a little bit of an unlock. You know, where are you might have differences already you can talk about, and where could you be different is where the interesting new innovation could be in your business. That will create the difference. So your next steps, they're the 2 tools that I'm going to give you in the session. Go back to your thought bubbles and define the brand memories you want to create, and then build a story around that and build a brand experience that reinforces that. And then go back to your expected and unexpected tale. Make this a central part of the story. Any questions or comments? Anyone want to unmute, share, tell me where they're at, tell me why they're stuck? Oh,
really great, Jodie.
Somebody sighed. What's going? Oh my God. Yes,
I didn't sigh. I was going to say something really positive, just to say that I think the key to this, and you just articulate it and just create the environment so well, is that it's about having the creative thought. You might not take the whole of that creative thought. You might think, okay, therefore, if that's my starting point, how can I then apply that to my business? And then it sort of spirals out, doesn't it? And it's having the nub of the creative idea and having the confidence just to work through it and not dismiss it at the first thought because it doesn't work. You know, like that idea about satisfaction matrix sounds complicated. Well, maybe it's not complicated, or maybe there's a different sort of version that we can apply to us. So yeah, really great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. Yeah, some of this takes some digging into, and with any creative idea, I always say they're like baby birds. You know, you don't chuck it out the nest and it's going to soar. It needs a bit of nurturing, needs a bit of care. And at the point at which it's ready to take flight, that idea will then, you know, kind of go off and soar on its own. So they do take quite a lot of thinking. And it's the ideas where you go, you know, what do you mean I don't charge? That's ridiculous. Stick with those ridiculous ideas. That level of creativity is where the interesting stuff happens for your business. I can't pick one thing. Come on, be brave, Joe. It's fine. Anybody else with some final comments or questions? For anyone in the room, I'll just leave that up there. There's a code. If you want to come and visit the Business Shed, which is our online business growth club, we meet monthly, lots of ideas, tools like this. If you're in tears and you hated the session, don't come along. I'm not the person you need in your business. If it was thought-provoking, if you think, oh, that's quite interesting, I've never thought of my business like that, do come along. £25 visitor seat will be only £5 if you use that code. So please do come along and visit. If you don't want to spend any money, that's fine. Get into the tool shed. There's loads of tools like this, including an innovation matrix using this expected, unexpected. It's got some explanation around it. So go onto my website and click on the tool shed. And then finally, for those of you who aren't connected with me, I know it's quite small on some people's screens, hold your camera up to that QR code and I will be connecting with you on LinkedIn within about 3 nanoseconds. So do that if you're not connected with me. I'd love any thoughts, and you know, let's start some connections and conversations on LinkedIn. We've got a couple of minutes. Any last questions or thoughts? Very happy to hear anything. Yes, Kelly.
I was going to try and get through a session without saying anything, but just really to say how wonderful you are. And
oh, thank you.
Sometimes I'm going to say simple. It's not simple. It's incredibly hard, and it is hard to pick one of these things. But once you have picked it, it then goes, wow, that is really obvious. And what a massive difference that makes to my business and me being able to move forward. So although it feels hard at the beginning, just really to give you a plug, Jodie, to say, get along, because Jodie's just amazing at this. And to be able to just pull out some threads of ideas from your brains will make such a big difference to your business. So yeah, thank you, Jodie. Great as always.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. My pleasure. So the next If I don't do this, Alan will kill me. I'm very happy because I'm going. 11 a.m. We've got Danielle. Oh my God, Danielle was in the room, wasn't she? I hope she's not anymore. Go and prep for your session, Danielle. She's talking TikTok and Canva videos. Is that right? Oh, well, I hope I've done that justice. I'm going along because it sounds brilliant. So don't forget that's at 11. So you've got 3 minutes for a cup of tea, quick lie down, go and baste your brain in a cup of coffee. I hope you all found that useful. You can always follow up with questions via LinkedIn if you come back to that tool and you think, I don't know what I'm doing. Please reach out. Really happy to help. And I think that's everything, unless anyone has any final questions. Thank you guys for coming, and I will see you in another room, I'm sure.